The voice changed. Welcome to the UX CI/CD UX weekly meeting. Just as an FYI, I am hosting this week because Hayana is out of office today. So we can go ahead and move forward. Taking a look at the agenda, we have quite a few things that are empty. So if anybody wants to fill in a gap real quick, if not, I will dive into user research. I have solution validation for the feature flag as an issue type. Solution validation, starting. Lori was her normal incredible self and already reviewed the discussion guide right after holiday. I'm feeling pretty confident. I think the test will go really smoothly. I have a dry run on Friday, which is worked great because it's given me a deadline with my PM and the rest of my team to be like, prototype has to be done, which is very helpful. So that is going to be kicking off, which I'm excited about because it'll give us more insight into issuables as well, and different ways that we can leverage an issue type to be different things. So in this case, we're trying the feature flag. So I'm super excited. Vithika, you have the next point.
Yes. So for CI, we are kickstarting the CMS research, and this is the first time I'll be conducting a CMS research. So I'm of course excited. All the groundwork has, I think, been taken care of. Maybe like 80-85%. I'm making last moment edits to the documents so that everything is crisp and perfect before we like schedule our users for interviews. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Any other topics on research we want to share? It's kind of a
Yeah, I mean, like I just came back on Monday, but I didn't put this in there. I should have. I'm going to be working with, continuing to work with Tao and Dove. I think those are my two stakeholders, to try to find some Dakotas, which are directors, to talk to. It is somewhere in my thing here. It's 161. I'll put a link in there. We're looking to find out more about what a director does and how that relates to buying, like the buyer persona, which sometimes is the director and sometimes isn't, depending on how the organization is structured. So that's kind of the mushy part of this. I talked to Jackie yesterday. She has not been able to actually talk to any directors. She's talked to a lot of lead devs and some managers and even managers of managers, but not directors. So she's been unable to really answer the question of how does the decision to up tier take place? Because that's really what people are trying to crack. That's the big question we're trying to solve. So that's something that's on my radar. I've put an arbitrary due date of March 17th on it. Tao and Dove are also working on other stuff, so this isn't stopping them, which is good. But this will go directly into stuff that Jackie and them are working on to further crack that. Like, how do we get people to up tier? What are they looking for? What do they need from us in order to feel confident in those decisions? So it's going to be a bunch of interviews. It's couched as jobs to be done for the Dakota persona, but I suspect it'll be a little bit of a interesting project. So I don't think it'll be as cut and dry as a pure jobs to be done interview with these people. I gotta find them first and then I'll talk to them. And then the other thing that I'm working on, which would be helpful if I can find the tab. You'll get used to this, Daniel. I have so many tabs open, I can never find anything. The other one that I'm working on is the OKR for one of the OKRs for the research group, which is the cross-functional cross-functional something. I'll find it. I'll put it in the agenda. I don't yet know if this is going to be actual research that will be done in this quarter, meaning starting in February, or if it's going to be a process that Tali and I are going to work on this together, that Tali and I work with Anoop on to put into place to encourage other people, everybody else at the company, to do cross-functional research, or at least look at research and design with a cross-functional lens. I'm not sure where that's going to go yet. I'm going to talk to Adam today and get his thoughts. And I pinged Anoop in the issue because apparently he's been thinking about it for a while. So I'm sure he's got some ideas. So I'll find out from him what his expectations are around that too. So those are the two big things that I'm working on, as well as helping Jackie to further the cause of strategic research, especially in the ops group and at the company at large. We've got a couple of action items to work on over the next couple weeks to get things kind of put in place. There's some templates in Dovetail that we might put together, presentation ideas, like put your cross-functional strategic research in here and present it out, and it would make it better. It's not a usability readout because this is going to be a different kind of research. So that is what I am doing, plus looking through all the email.
Can I ask a quick question about that first research?
Of course.
You mentioned?
Yeah.
Is that specific to the to stage? So are we looking at what parts of runner and verify or package, etc., lead to it, or is this a general what helps you make the decision and then tier out the insights to the stage after that?
I don't even know. I think Jackie's taking a more holistic approach than specific feature approach to it. But because she hasn't been able to actually talk to the people who are the buyer, or make the decision, at least maybe they don't sign the check, they make that decision. We don't know. All she's been able to find are the people who are providing the supporting documentation and the please do this for me conversations with the director, but she hasn't actually talked to the director to understand what it is that they take into consideration. So I think once we talk to at least a few of them, hopefully we'll get a sense of, is this down to the feature level? Is it just based on recommendations they get from their lead devs? What is it? How do they do that? I did encourage her, and I'll encourage you guys, if you hear of anything from your PMs that they're curious to know from a director, let me know, because I can have these people for like an hour. I can ask them all kinds of questions. It doesn't have to be just for this particular thing, especially since they're so hard to find and get. I want to make sure that I can ask them all the questions, or at least 75% of all the questions that we have for the director persona during this project too. So it doesn't have to directly relate to this, but it could be anything that you're burning to ask a director.
Great. So Laurie, you said that Tao is already a part of this research, like she's participating?
Her name's on the issue, and her and Dove as well. So Jackie said she's got them working on the different aspect of it. So another opportunity canvas or something that's tangentially related to this particular thing. So nobody has done any research on it. Tao was going to, and then I stepped in before I left to say, let me help you with this. So she's not talked to anybody either.
Great. Okay, that's perfect, because I know that there's an epic that we are working on. It's for pipeline analytics, and that means it would concern like group level, instance level, and those kind of things. And directors definitely have a role to play there.
Yeah. So if she's been able to find people, let me know, because I could talk to them too.
I don't think so.
Yeah, if she hasn't, and if there are questions there that she needs answered as well, you can ping me in the issue and say, hey, Lori's soliciting questions for this other thing, but she'll take other questions too to ask them. So I may be able to help her as well. That's what I suspect. I suspect nobody's ever talked to a director, or at least not in depth. And as far as I can get one on the hook, I'm going to ask them as many questions as I can to help people. So yeah.
I feel like kind of thinking through some of the research we've done in the past year, that Tim and I have had a chance to speak to that director role, because that tends to be the person that picks the package registry, implements it, and then they forget about it, which is the ideal experience journey. Would you like me to ping Tim and see if he has any of those contacts at the director level to help recruiting?
Yes, because what we're looking for people who, exactly make that decision about whether or not to up tier for whatever reasons. So it could be just somebody who's doing it based solely on package and the package features, that's fine. But they might know other people. So yes, please.
Perfect.
I shamelessly already paused the whole meeting so that I could ping Tim so I wouldn't have to remember to ask this exact question. So you were already set.
Woohoo,
Thank you for sharing all of that, Lori. Any
Thanks,
other
Lori.
research topics, questions, statements we want to share?
Yes, in fact, the last time you asked if there's any other research question, I felt strange because this milestone, we have marked this as a research milestone for CI. And the fact that I was not able to recall of any of the research that I'm doing, I felt so lost. So I quickly dug out this other one that I'm involved in right now, which is we are trying to validate all those 1-year vision items which came up the last month when we were making presentations around the 3 years vision for CI. So the ones that we have selected for implementation for this year, we are validating those concepts with our users. And it has just started. I mean, we haven't even started to recruit for that, but that's the plan. Perfect.
I'm trying to learn from Christy to just give a moment of silence in a meeting to see if anyone else has a topic they want to bring up. I don't know how well I'm doing. Okay. Okay. The last thing we have on the agenda, if everyone is ready to move on, was a question that I asked in terms of just kind of starting sharing resources and stuff. For context, I've done branding and marketing work before. And so social media and publicity and PR for products I'm really familiar with. But I came to discover that you can't directly transfer those skill sets to a professional personal persona. Actually, they end up being different. Who would have thought? And as I'm kind of reevaluating that social media thing, I was wondering if anybody had any resources or even people that are really successful at doing this that you may be able to share in terms of how to kick it off, tips and tricks, that kind of stuff. Especially for designers, because we're in a really space.
Right. I mean, personally, what I'm doing is I simply keep everything. Like I maintain my own website and I kind of maintain a style in all the presentations I make or any artwork that I create. I can share the link here. But I mean, that said, there's no branding as such that's involved. I know some people do it pretty well, but I've not been able to do it.
I wonder if there's some LinkedIn Learning courses that might help. They seem to have a plethora of other things on that. Because I took a seat on the LinkedIn Learning account, and then we have the GitLab Learning account, and I think they're separate as best I can tell. So, but they might have some stuff on there.
Right. But the worst part is doing it for yourself. I mean, I have also done that. I worked for advertising agencies for 7 years, but not for myself.
Yeah, I mean, if you can figure out what you need to do and maybe get some pointers, maybe it's a collaborative effort between you and a friend who also needs it, and you guys can do it for each other. Maybe, because it's kind of hard. It is hard to do it for yourself because you need somebody to hold up that mirror to you to say, you are awesome at these things, and this is why you're awesome at these things. Now go tell everybody that you're awesome at these things. And it's just kind of hard to do it for yourself.
I think that's a really great idea, Laurie. Ian, are you up for it?
Yeah. That's great.
Make the CI/CD UX.
Let's talk about this more.
Totally.
Okay. Any other thoughts or questions or anything you'd like to bring up while we're all together? And by we all,
I mean, since we have a little time, so I would just mention that even Laurie spoke about the LinkedIn Learning seat. And I mean, I've always been a fan of LinkedIn Learning, and ever since we got the access back, I have been like spending my weekends again on that platform. And I have come across such great resources when it comes to CI pipelines. There was a really nice video that I watched the previous weekend, which was about a competitive study of about 9 software offerings when it came to CI. Yeah. And like it had a mix of SaaS and self-hosted and all kinds of things. And so I think we should exploit those resources to the fullest.
That's such a good idea.
Yes, and I think we should also like post on the UX channel to encourage other people to look into them too. Because this is part of that cross-functional thing that I'm like, it's not just me doing that. Like I lay awake at night sometimes. Like I can't make this company be cross-functional. It has to be cross-functional itself. So the more that we can start to put it in front of other people at the company, say, hey, don't forget this is a thing and that you can learn it really easily here and it's not scary, and encourage them to share with us too. Because I would prefer to have like somebody from Secure curate the thing at LinkedIn that I should be spending my 30 minutes on than me trying to find the thing at LinkedIn that might deal with Secure that has anything to do with what we're doing. So I would welcome that from other groups as well.
That's another great idea, Laurie. Thank you so much. I mean, there's an option to have a company list there. If we take responsibilities for our respective stage groups, we can probably curate something like a bunch of videos for CI and like similarly for other stages, other groups.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I had no idea that there was that in there, but yeah, no, totally. We should.
There is, yeah. Ian is giving us time to think of more topics. Yeah.
Every time Christy does it, I feel a little uncomfortable. And then someone starts talking, so it's just like, well, okay, this works.
No, it totally does. I did find one that's about creating your personal brand on the LinkedIn Learning. So I put a link in there to our agenda for it. So I knew there was going to be something, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. So I just typed in marketing yourself and searched, and it's a whole long list. So
Perfect. That was such a great resource to share. Thank you, Lori.
yeah, well, I love that we have that now because you have to pay for it otherwise. I love free things. Here's a random thing. I don't know if you guys have heard of Creative Mornings. I'm sure you have. They were big in Dallas when we were in person. People would leave the office at Capital One and go downtown. I'm like, how do you even leave? Aren't you here at work already? But whatever. And they wouldn't come back till noon. But now they're all virtual. And I went to one last week, and it was about taking her model was taking one day every month to do your own development, personal development. And she would prefer you to take a day during the weekday so you're not sacrificing a weekend, but whatever. And so the whole idea was in 4 to 6 hours, you could grab that professional book that you have been gathering dust on your shelf and read some chapters. You could work on personal OKRs if you wanted to, if that's something that you wanted to help define. She had a framework that you could fill out a worksheet for. And she also, incorporates exercise, go for a walk, take a nap, do self-care during this day as well. But it's a day that's set aside from work that you're really working on your personal stuff. And personal could be professional, but it didn't have to be professional stuff, because sometimes it's I just need to figure out how to do the dishes every day. They keep piling up. So it was a very interesting talk. It lasted about an hour, and I thought it was really, really useful. And I'm going to try to do it. I probably can't get to it this month, but I'm going to try to take an extra day around the Friends and Family Day next month. I'm going to take that Thursday too and use that to do my personal development day. So
That's
We
nice.
make that like a official UX CI/CD day where it's like, okay, they scheduled Friends and Family Day. This is the CI/CD self-growth day. And no one's
Totally.
at work. What do you think? Since half of us is here, we could technically have a quorum and then make a decision for everybody. This is perfect.
I'm in.
Yeah, me too.
I actually really like that we're talking about this. One of the things I've been reflecting on recently is that I don't seem to have as much time for my own growth.
Yep.
With all of the things I'm trying to do, especially kind of managing 2 stages, is pretty intense. How do you all currently handle self-growth, or does it kind of just keep getting put off until end date, which never quite arrives?
That's pretty much it. I was talking with Hayana because I was so impressed with her, the way that she's approached her personal OKRs. And I feel like in light of my recent review experience, I need to do a hell of a better job writing down what I do because my boss might not know. And she does a really great job of documenting why she's doing it. That's the OKR, and the steps that she's taken to achieving or getting close to achieving that OKR. So I've started that process, but I don't have enough time in the day either to sit there and work on it. I don't know where she's finding the time either. And that was what I was going to talk to her about this week when she got sick. So I'm hoping that these personal development days or personal retreat day will help me to find the time to work on that. And the other piece that I find is missing is there's not been, in the year and a half that I've been here, like any sort of formal career development. I think it's been really informal and ad hoc, and that is kind of a scatter approach. And I don't know how well that shapes out for everybody. Not so well for, I mean, like, I'm not getting any closer to the goal that I've set for myself with the scatter approach. So, yeah, that's my experience.
So for me, it's mostly, I mean, I am very diligent in doing that, but the cost is pretty high because I kind of I do it over the weekends, and yeah, so I don't have time for anything else during the weekends. But yeah, having a dedicated day, it would really help me because I tried to do recently when I was writing the blog on merge trains. So this time I thought that I would probably not do that over the weekends, and I would take it forward to a Monday, and then I would try to finish the blog. I was not able to do it. I had to again wait for the whole week to end because there's so many to-do items that it's just too much distraction over any weekday to look at anything that you consider as personal growth. And I don't know, it shouldn't, but it feels very, you feel bad about it, about dedicating time to it. It shouldn't be like that.
Thank you for sharing that, both of you. I've had a very similar experience, so I'm very happy. I'm sad that we're all experiencing it, but I'm happy to not be alone. We're running out of time, and I really love this conversation. So I'm going to open NMR, maybe, to change the handbook for the CI/CD UX team and just say, as a proposal, we want to take the day before Friends and Family Day as a group self-growth day, and share it with Hayana and Nadia, who isn't here right now, and just see what kind of response we get. It would be cool if this was really successful. And this is another example of how the CI/CD UX team is awesome and everyone should be like us, which I always like.
Me too.
All right, I will take that as an action item then. Thank you all. We have 1 minute left. Any final thoughts before we wrap up today? Okay, thank you all very much for a great sync, and I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, if you want to.
That's true. Yes, just survive. That's where we are. We're surviving right now. Stay safe, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Soon. Bye, everyone.